Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. I'm super delighted to be here as your first speaker. And thank you, everyone, university, the students, the guests, to welcome me today. So I'm here. So my name is Alex, by the way, or Alexandre in French. So you might notice my French accent. So I'm here to tell you that the beta version of you is, in fact, the best version of you. So let me take you back a decade ago. 2016, it's December. I land in Toronto, Canada. But I'll continue. It's minus 20 degrees. If you don't know what minus 20 degrees Celsius is, it's like air punching you on the face nonstop. It's so cold that your nostrils are frozen and you cannot even breathe. I'm joking, of course, but it's goddamn cold. I was walking on Bay Street. Bay Street is kind of the Wall Street of Canada, but very, very tiny. I'm wearing my best suit, nothing like this, and I'm telling myself, wow, I look like a very successful young businessman. I'm walking towards my new office, my new job at Facebook. On paper, that's the best script. That's the best manual for success. Wow, I can tell my parents I made it. But the reality is, inside, I was a total mess. Why? Because I'm actually a shy, introvert person. And English is technically my third language. So I'm asking myself, did I do the right move? Should I go and open that door and actually work there? Or should I go home? So I'm sure it probably happened to you quite a few times, right? Are you ready for your exam? Are you ready for your first interview when you're going to graduate and looking for a new job? Sometimes you're asking, well, my English is not good enough. I don't have enough experience. Well, that happens all the time. And then you're waiting. You're waiting for someone to give you a job, waiting to graduate, waiting for someone to give you an opportunity. Well, let me tell you that you're going to wait a long time. And the wait is what's holding you back. So I'm here to tell you that the most successful lives or the most impactful lives are the ones that are launched in beta. All right, we're a bit slow on the slide. Sorry, that was me. I was a mess. All right, this is me, the shy guy. I told you I'm a very shy guy. So I was not supposed to be here today, and I was not supposed to be at Facebook. When I was born a blue baby. And for those who doesn't know what a blue baby is, it's a newborn with a heart defect where oxygen doesn't flow through the blood properly, and the blood becomes blue, hence a blue baby. And back in the 1980s, I know you're laughing because I'm that old, but back in the days, survival rate was 68%. Compared to today, it's 98%. So I'm very grateful to be here on stage today. So I grew up in Sherbrooke, Quebec, very small town, French-speaking province of Canada. I was the only Asian in town. I got picked on a lot. I was always back in the room in the class because I didn't want to say a word. And yeah, I was pretty nerdy, but at the same time, I was really bad at school. In fact, I got kicked out of school twice. So my friends had their, standard life, the happy life of, going to school, having nice dinner, playing football, going to a vacation house, going on trips. My family didn't have that mean, so I couldn't do that. But I was different. I knew I had two things. First thing, I knew I was a hustler. My definition of a hustler is you have curiosity and you like to do things, like execute things. And the second thing, I embrace being different. So, same me, but a hustler. I'll bring you back to 1998. I was in primary school, 11 years old. I discovered computers. Back in the days, computers were a big box, nothing like your iPhone today. And I started to code websites. Back in the days, websites was not like buying a template, going on ChatGPT, build me the code, copy paste. It was opening your text editor, typing every single character line by line. That took ages. So I built websites. They were dead-ass ugly, but they worked. And then a few years later, I'm going to high school. I discovered e-commerce. Think of Alibaba, AliExpress, Shopee, eBay, right? So today, you guys are lucky. You open Shopee, you press 2 or 3 tap, the product is at your door within 4 hours. Back in the days, I had to use checks. A piece of paper where you write your name, you sign, the recipient deposit the checks, and maybe you'll get the product if you don't get scammed. So I was doing that in high school. I was buying shoes, Jordans, fake Jordan shoes, and I was selling those shoes to the basketball teams in my high schools and other high schools. I was buying cell phones. You couldn't get cell phones back then. Why? You needed to be 18 years old with a credit card. So I was selling them to the kids in high school. Yes, I made money, but I had too many customers. So I had to use Excel 2000, 26 years ago. I had my spreadsheet, names, email, phone number. Interestingly, I sold those phone numbers to them. I had all those informations. So it seems pretty simple today, right? But at 14 years old, just like that, I experienced firsthand supply and demand, the fundamentals of economics. I didn't even know back then the word supply and demand. And just like that, I created a CRM, customer relationship management, my good old spreadsheet. To do that today, you probably need to be in the workforce for a couple of years. If you're lucky, you have those roles. If not, you might experience it 10 years later. So, was I really smart? Not really. It's all about curiosity and execution. So, fast forward, 2016, I won the award 30 under 30 in Canada. Big deal. But I never pursued it. I never really wanted it. Basically, my colleagues and people in the industry voted for me, but it's not what I wanted. That kind of changed my life, though. And a lot of people would say, oh, it's because you were so smart at your job, you did the right thing, 2016, you got promoted, blah, blah, blah. Reality, when I think about it, it's none of that. It's all wrong. It's all the things that I did in the 1990s and the 2000s when I was 11 years old, 14, 16. Has nothing to do with what I was doing at work. So all the little details carries over time. They might not help you today or tomorrow. They might help you 10 years later. So where was I in 2016? 2016, I told you in December I was in Toronto, but before I was in Montreal, third largest city in Canada. I had a good life. I was working in a bank, in marketing. Coffee was free. Salary was decent. I knew that my schedule was 9 to 5, so I could do anything in the evening and on the weekend. I was safe. I had my family. I had my friends. Everything was great. But then there's something in business, a term, that means that things are losing value over time, and that is depreciating assets. So let me give you an example with objects. Very easy. You want to buy the latest and greatest iPhone. You go to the store, you buy it. You remove the plastic film on the screen, it loses value right off the bat. You want to buy a new motorbike, you go to the Honda dealership, you drive around for 2 seconds, it loses value. So I think we should treat our career the same way. So I was at the bank, right? Worked there for many years. At some point, I was like, what am I learning, really? Because you can learn within your industry, within the same company, within the same city or country, but your growth is kind of tiny compared to a human being growth, a global growth. So when I got that award, 2016, I was like, wow, I got the calls from all the big companies, Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook, you name it. But the problem was, it was not in my city. I had to go to Toronto, an English-speaking city. I had no one there. I've never moved that far. But I took the job. So I'm in Toronto. I'm not going to go through my whole journey, but I worked there 3 years. It was great. It was hard. The job was in sales, and I'm an introvert guy. It was really, really hard. But then I grew. I've learned a new culture. I improved my English. I worked with many new people. I made friends. But then the learning curve started to go down again. So 2019, 3 years later, I'm going to bring you back in 1998. I wanted to feel that feeling. I wanted to be young again. So in 2019, I moved to Paris, France. The same company, so Facebook, but my goal was to lead the partnership with the luxury brands. All those big brands that you know, that you see online, that you see in stores, I've worked with them. What do I do in Paris? Same thing. I'm young, I know the language, it's my first language, but I don't know the culture. If you think about French, right, all the stereotypes, and you mix that with luxury industry, ego, prestige, politics, that's my day-to-day. It was hard. I got yelled at, but I continue. And how did I strive in that market? Well, let me tell you this. You have to be your authentic self. If you don't understand, right, I didn't have any experience in luxury. Never had experience working with French people and other nationalities like Italian, people from the UK. It was really hard. But if you stay yourself, you ask the simple questions, people will understand you. And authenticity will always beat a perfect pitch. So I was able to be myself. Of course, you need to adapt. And I've thrived 5 years in Paris. During those 5 years, I did a lot. Did deliver a lot of projects. I've worked on the digital avatar where you can buy outfits or get them for free from the luxury brand. Even Mark Zuckerberg covered it. And I brought the C-suites of all the big luxury brands to California to talk about innovation and technology. Wow, what a successful career. Living in Paris, Emily in Paris style. It was great. I've traveled everywhere. But then, I wanted to feel young again, back to 11 years old. How did I do that? Well, a lot of you will be like, oh, you should stay there. You have an amazing life. Everything is great. You're traveling a lot. Well, yeah, I have a long journey from countries to countries, city to cities, but I wanted to learn. So 2024, 2 years ago, I moved to Singapore. I left Facebook, moved to Singapore to work in a startup. I wanted to learn from people who's building things from the ground up. Not from a company that has 80,000 employees, but from people who take their hands and their brain and they do something about it. So I walked away from the fancy, stable, secure life. Go to Singapore. I got married last year with my beautiful and smart Vietnamese wife. It was great in Hoi An. But yes, I did leave my big job. And now I've learned a lot from that startup. And I told myself, it's about time that I do something about it, and I'm going to do it myself. So, takes me to now, Vietnam. I created my matcha brand, Chacabo, as was mentioned earlier. And why did I do that? I wanted to have that thrill, going to a new market it's a very young market, fast-moving market, very smart. I don't speak the language. I do, but it's pretty bad. But I want to learn Vietnamese. I want to learn my roots. It's a full circle. My parents used to live here in Saigon, and they left 45 years ago, and I'm back. I don't have any experience in food and beverages, nor in export and import, but I wanted to do that same thing, coding line by line, doing it with my hands. And now, I do have friends. I do have some family around that can help, but again, I wanted to feel young. So it takes me here to Vietnam. And when I was reflecting on the whole journey, it's not about how much money you earn, how many cars you own, how many houses you can buy. For me, it's growth. What is growth? It's not a KPI. It's not a metric. It's about yourself. So how do I calculate this? Skills and hard work. Skills and hard work, everyone in this room have some skills, different skills, and some level of hard work. But that gives you a steady growth. How do you grow that exponentially? The uncertainty factor or multiplier. And that's the hustle part I was telling you guys earlier. Are you curious enough? Are you willing to sacrifice things? Are you willing to execute? A lot of people wait. I yap about a project, but I'll never do it. So that is the uncertainty factor that, if it grows by 1.5, 2, it will automatically grow faster. Not about work. It's not just about work. It's about your personal life and whatever you're interested in. So we wait a lot, right? We wait 20-something years because we study to finally go on the market. We wait a lot to learn things, experience things, but at the end of the day, we wait to start something. That's kind of ironic. So I want to show you this. This is a graph by Tim Urban, a TED speaker. If you have time to look it up, great speech. But it shows the number of months in a 90-year life. So most of you in this room, you'll be like, I have a lot of time. I can do a lot of things. But come back to me in 2 years and you'll be like, wow, I wasted X number of months. If I look at it personally, I'll be like, God damn, I don't have much time left. And it's not about living life. It's about doing the things that you want to do in your entire life. So I want you to change your perception of the word waiting, as waiting kind of holds you back once again. So here's my perfect example to you. Here, I'm a very shy person, and I'm here today in front of a lot of cameras and a lot of people. And what got me here? Yes, it's all the hard work, right? But one of my passions when I was a kid was rap. I loved listening to rap. I was rapping alone in my basement. So high school, last year of high school, there was a talent show. That was my once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go on stage and rap. But I was way too shy. But I finally did it. 2004. I don't know if everyone was born here, but yeah. And then, 2024, 20 years later, this is me in Paris. Way more people, but it was so easy. I had way more confidence. So why am I showing this? This little dude, skinny dude rapping is actually why the reason I'm here. That I'm not too nervous. I can do this speech. I can talk to people. I can do sales jobs. I can meet new people. It's not an issue now because I broke that barrier. I didn't wait. I didn't wait for someone to tell me like, oh, you're not shy anymore. I just did it. So I want you to do something before the end of the day is do something awkward, something you're not comfortable with. And for example, you can send a message to your mom and dad or someone you're close with, like, I like you or I love you. For me, it's awkward because I don't really communicate with my family. Well, it could be something like, if you have a business idea, you've never done it, you never started it, maybe it's time you do it now. So the world doesn't need you to be polished, to be perfect. The world needs you to be messy, to try new things, to experience. So with that, I hope you'll launch whatever you're interested in today. Thank you.